we've obviously been talking a lot about SpaceX and Falcon.
Oh, God.
We've obviously been talking a lot about SpaceX and the Falcon Heavy launch.
I don't like how it sounds like you're going to cut my "oh God" out. This is what the listeners are thinking. Here we go, more rocketry.
Hello, and welcome to Generic Drift with me, Harvey Broadhurst, and my good friend, Adam Bakewell.
You all right?
Yes, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. You know, I've turned the heating off in the house because you get very upset about background mumbling from or any sort of disturbance in the background, and the boiler is in my room. So I've got a blanket over me. I'm going to persevere through the show.
Good. Thanks very much. That's good. I appreciate that. I don't like background noise in the podcast. And I feel like we are, audio quality is getting better each week. So I'm happy with that.
Maybe not content, but audio quality certainly. I want to talk to you about cave paintings.
Oh, I love anthropology.
Oh, yeah. I thought you'd like this story. So I'm going to send you just the picture of the cave painting, and I want you to give me your honest appraisal of it first before I tell you the story.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Right. 1 second.
Oh. I'm trying to work out what it is. Are they the only thing that I can sort of see there that I think I'm able to interpret? There's a drawing over on the right that looks like, I would say, maybe a horse's head.
Yeah, looks like an animal part though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would, but it can't be a horse, I don't think.
You have to imagine that most of it is faded.
Let me see.
So let me tell you the interesting thing about these cave paintings anyway. So these have been dated, and apparently they were painted before the arrival of Homo sapiens in Europe. So they must have been done by Neanderthals.
Now that is interesting. Whereabouts are these caves?
They're in Spain.
Okay.
So it's not directly next to Africa.
Now that is really cool actually, because that means I'm looking at a cave painting that was painted by a different species.
Yeah, exactly. And so there was this thought when Neanderthals were first discovered, that's obviously since been proved to be untrue in loads of ways, that they had no sort of form of belief system or certainly no artistic abilities like that. And yet they're not just smearing pigment on walls, they're actually painting figures and shapes and dots and things.
I think lots of people actually, that sort of assumption that Neanderthals are really stupid, big heads but tiny brains or whatever, very clumsy. I think that that's still quite prevalent. I think lots of people who aren't familiar with anthropology would assume Neanderthals are still very, very lumbering, stupid, like human relatives.
You say that, you'll probably know this then. A little trivia question for you.
Go on.
What were Neanderthals' first described scientific names?
I don't know, actually.
This was just when they were first described before they had a formal classification as Homo neanderthalis.
Yeah, okay.
Homo stupidus.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
That's unfair.
Well, they didn't know, did they? I don't know why they instantly assumed they were stupid, but I guess something about morphology, because when you've only got bones, that's all you can go on, really. Yeah,
I feel bad for the Neanderthals.
First we killed them all, and now we're slagging them off.
Well, that's not necessarily true, is it? I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that we crossbred with them.
Yeah, but
we sort of merged.
Out-competed them.
Yeah, but...
Even if just on a genetic level, we're more like Lucy than we are like Neanderthals.
No way is that correct.
Oh, not Lucy, sorry. Not Lucy. Whatever the first human, the oldest recognised human.
I don't know. I don't know who the oldest recognised human is. But I know that all the time we are still finding out whenever we say, oh, this is when humans first moved into Europe, and this is when humans first migrated to the Americas and stuff like that, we're finding out constantly that the dates that we've predicted are incorrect.
Yeah. So a lot of scientists think that these cave paintings are within the margin of error, that we can't prove without a doubt that they weren't done by humans.
Well, this is what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Usually when it comes to cave paintings, people or scientists understand who drew them based on the remains that are nearby. So, because usually they're in caves and there's tools by them and also bodies. So were there any remains found by these cave paintings, do you know?
No, I don't know. But I know that so they're not recently discovered cave paintings. They've just always been assumed to be human cave paintings. But then, so the analysis that said the Neanderthals isn't based on anything that was around it. It was some form of uranium dating or something like that.
Okay. So we'd known about these cave paintings for a long time, assumed humans have drawn them.
Yeah.
But actually, they predate the arrival of humans into Europe.
Yeah, correct.
As we understand it. Okay. That is interesting. Is there any more information on what the paintings actually show? Because I can't interpret just from this image. What does it show? Do you know?
Well, so a lot of them are just abstract shapes that would be used to represent something, like dots and things and boxes, lines that intersect. But then, yeah, there are some animals, mainly animals and boxes.
The drawing on the very left looks like maybe a mountain or something. Maybe it's the Rock of Gibraltar.
Maybe.
And then, yeah, I can kind of see animal shapes, perhaps. It's really interesting. How old are these?
65,000 years old.
Wow, that's crazy.
And humans arrived in Europe 40 to 45,000 years ago.
Oh, wow. So there's a significant margin.
Well, yeah, if we've A, correctly predicted when humans arrived in Europe, and B, the dating of these paintings as well. There's two margins of errors there that some people say maybe aren't good enough.
Do you know what where they get the pigment from?
Bloody hell, I wasn't there.
All right, I'm just going to say no then.
No, I don't think even the scientists who did this research could possibly know that.
It's always that
65,000 years old.
But it's always that browny red colour, which must be some sort of rock pulverised down or something, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you're right. They probably do know what it is, but they don't say in the article, so I don't know.
Imagine how many caves there are out there that have got paintings in that we haven't discovered yet.
I wouldn't think that many.
Wouldn't you?
Because if they're not discovered yet, then they're probably so remote that even early humans would have had trouble discovering them.
I reckon because...
Or at least getting to them. If it takes us so much effort to get to them when we've got all this technology.
But I think that because these are so old, I think 65,000 years, I reckon there are cave systems that we can no longer access that would have been easily accessible maybe 65,000 years ago because of just the way that the earth and terrain moves and, caves get shut off and other ones open up.
Yeah, I think that a lot of them would just be lost, filled in or collapsed, lost to the general earth.
Lost, like tears in the rain. It's from Blade Runner. But no, I think these are great. I think these are really interesting. The more that I look at them, the more I can sort of make out shapes that I would say were maybe familiar. I'd love to know what they all represent. If it tells some sort of story.
Yeah, I mean, the not archaeologists. Yeah, what would you call them?
Geologists? No, archaeologists.
Yeah, I think archaeologists. They said, there's very little chance that we'll ever know what they mean.
Oh, okay. I quite like that as well. It's beautiful.
Are you ready for another very important news story?
Yes, I sure am. Hit me.
It's about Barbra Streisand's dog.
Okay.
Did you see this?
No.
So Barbra Streisand cloned her dog twice.
No way.
Before it died in 2017. Yeah, she did.
So she's got two clones of her dog?
Yeah, and a distant cousin of the dog as well.
Why did she do this?
Because she really loved the dog.
Yeah, but it's not the same dog.
Well, yeah. So she had two versions called Miss Violet and Miss Scarlet. And they were named that because when she got them, she couldn't tell them apart. So she dressed them in red and pink or purple and then called them Miss Violet and Miss Scarlet. Do you want to hear what she said about it? It's hilarious.
Go on.
They have very different personalities. I'm waiting for them to get older so I can see if they have her brown eyes and seriousness.
Seriousness?
Yeah. Well, Barbara, it's a clone. Like, of course it's going to have brown eyes. What is she talking about?
So, hold on. Just going back. So she doesn't know if the dog has brown eyes?
But I think sometimes, like with babies, the dog's eyes change.
Oh, of course.
I don't know that that's definitely true. But apparently she doesn't know. I also don't like the way she says, like, she's waiting until they get older to see. Like, what is she going to do if they don't turn out to be serious?
I don't understand what she means by serious.
You know, the temperament of the dog.
Dogs aren't serious. I think serious is a very human trait. Seriousness.
You can imagine a dog not being playful. I can imagine like certain breeds are like more serious than others, though.
I just think that's absurd. This is my dog. He's very serious.
Yeah.
It's not a very dog-like trait.
Well, apparently it's a very Samantha-like trait. She was obviously a very special dog. And Barbra Streisand is hoping that these two clones are going to be raised in conditions enough that they're also serious.
Yeah. I think the seriousness would be due to environmental factors.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the personality of a dog or a human or most animals, maybe not all, I think that is very much a product of the environment.
Well, you are a personality expert, really, aren't you?
Yes.
That sounded like an insult. It sounded like I was being sarcastic about your personality, but I was talking about your research project.
Yes, but my research project was looking at personality in hermit crabs, and I can understand how personality, to that degree, in which propensity to emerge from a shell when a threat is detected, I could understand why that would be genetic, or could be genetic. But I think the trait of seriousness in a dog is much more open to environmental shaping.
Yeah, I guess that's something that it's very hard to determine because, like, I don't know to what spectrum a dog's personality can vary.
Yeah.
And
what breed of dog are they?
Hang on. So it's a Cotton de Tulia.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
It looks like a little Maltese. Do you know what a Maltese is?
No, not really.
Loads more hair.
Okay. Is it a small dog, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it's a tiny little dog. It's a lap dog.
Now, you see, that's... Yeah, again, I think if I were to agree that certain dogs are serious, I'm going to say, yeah, that's true, actually. Things like bloodhounds. What are the ones with the little barrel of ale on their... Not ale, spirit around their necks? They go up the mountains to rescue... What are they called?
German Shepherd?
No. Is it St. Bernard? Is it a St. Bernard? They're used for mountain rescue, and they have
a got really long, shaggy hair?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a St. Bernard.
St. Bernard?
I think that's how it's said, like the American version of Bernard.
This is really funny because another podcast that I listen to has spoken about St. Bernards before, and both of the hosts say St. Bernard.
Well, and I think that's just how it's said.
No, that's absurd. It's clearly St. Bernard.
Yeah, but that's how Americans say Bernard. I wouldn't say Bernard Cribbins. I'm not just saying it because that's how I say Bernard. Bernard's watch. Bernard's watch.
So you think it's an American breed of dog?
I'm not confident about that now you've said it, but I think it's an American name for the breed of dog.
Yeah, but no. This dog, I think, very famously carries a little cask of spirit. I think it might be brandy or something around its neck. And then they send them up the mountain, the dog finds, I don't know, a skier who's injured, and then the skier can open up the little cask and have a sip of brandy, and then, you know, helps them, keeps them warm or whatever, I don't know. Helps them in some sort of way.
The dog keeps them warm?
Having the brandy does.
Oh, I think they can come up with a better idea than that nowadays.
I've actually got a picture of a St. Bernard with this thing around its neck. I'm going to send it to you. And then I'll include this in the show notes, obviously. But yeah, a St. Bernard, it actually says St. Bernard Dog Alps. I think these are like Swiss dogs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it can be a Swiss dog, but when the Americans named them, they named them the St. Bernard.
Well, why do we go by what the Americans named them?
Okay, this isn't what I was thinking. This is like, what's his name? The
Old Bounder. Homeward Bound.
No.
I don't know then.
Oh, God, he's got like 5 films.
Beethoven,
yeah, it's Beethoven. Maybe I call them St. Bernards because that's an American film.
Maybe. I've never seen Beethoven. I'm not really a dog fan. I don't know if you know that. But
I do know that.
Yeah. So I never really watched films with dogs in. But maybe that's why everybody says St. Bernard.
So would you... I know you've just said you're not a dog person, but would you clone a pet, potentially?
This is a good question. No, would be my answer, because...
Okay.
Because Okay. All right. So if I've got a pet that I'm really fond of, and I've had a few before, mainly cats.
Yeah.
That I've really, really engaged with this cat. I had a cat called Julius who was with my family for maybe like 10 years, maybe more. And he was top-notch cat, very grumpy, very kept himself to himself, but also quite friendly. He'd be up for a cuddle and a stroke and stuff. So that was like perfect temperament for me.
Sounds pretty serious to me.
He was a very serious cat, actually. But the things I valued in Julius were his personality.
Yeah.
And I don't think if I cloned Julius, I think all I wouldn't have Julius again. I would have another cat that looks the same as Julius, but would undeniably have a different personality. And I'm quite happy when, Julius died, and it was a very sad day. We had a few months between Julius dying and getting a new cat.
Yeah,
and
but then you just got a new cat?
The new cat was completely different. And, and a bit bonkers, like really playful and also quite aggressive. But like, it was nice to have a different cat. I don't know why anybody would want the same cat again.
Well, you would get a different cat, though. It would act differently.
All right, but one that looks the same. Why? Why would you want that? I don't understand why Barbra Streisand wants a dog that resembles her previous dog. Identically. Down to... Yeah, all right. I don't understand why Barbra Streisand wants a dog that is genetically identical to her previous dog. Why not just get one that is the same breed?
Yeah, especially considering it costs like $50,000 to $100,000.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, just get another Cotton de Toulier.
She might as well have got like she's already got a cousin, did you say?
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much the same bloody thing. Isn't it?
She got the cousin while she was waiting for the clones.
That is so ridiculous.
I don't know whether halfway through, like, waiting for the clones, she might have just thought, actually, is this worth $100,000? Like, I have pretty much already got the dog that I had before.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you wait until it's born, you can choose between the puppies that are the most serious.
In a similar vein to Barbra Streisand and her dog, there was news this week that scientists have reconstructed the genome of the moa. Do you know what the moa is?
Yeah, it's a big old dead bird.
Yeah, it's a flightless bird, and it went extinct shortly after the Polynesians settled in New Zealand. So some scientists have used the toe bone of a museum specimen and then they've matched the nucleotides in the DNA up to specific locations on the genome of the emu, which is a very close relative.
Yeah. So what are they going to do with it then? That's my question.
So apparently it's very hard to now put this genome into the egg of a living species. It's really hard to genetically engineer a bird species, if that makes sense. I think we find it a lot easier in mammals. So they've been looking at the eggs of living species that they could potentially use, and I think it is the emu that they want to use because I think it's such a big egg.
Yeah, obviously it's
Yeah, it's a 6-inch long, 1-pounder egg that emus use. So I think they're going to do something like that, but they haven't. The work hasn't been published yet, but lots of people are saying it's an amazing advance. There's lots of extinct animal genomes currently being sequenced. Obviously, most famously, there's the mammoth.
Of course,
that we've been talking about for years and years.
And that would be apparently quite easy to get into an elephant, I've heard.
Yeah, well, this is what they're doing. I think that the team or teams working on this are sequencing different elephant chromosomes to get a better understanding of how mammoth DNA is organized.
So to what extent do you think that we're only better at doing this in mammals because we started doing it in mammals?
I don't know. I don't know whether it's something to do with just the birthing mechanism of mammals.
But I think that would make it more complicated to go between species because obviously you've got placentation from the mother. Like the mother provides much more direct support to a mammal offspring than a bird does to his offspring, where it just incubates it.
Yeah, that's true.
But maybe the yolk.
Yeah.
It's hard to determine what yolk and moa would need.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Really interesting, though.
Yeah, it is really cool. Basically, I think the scientists think that we'll soon be able to bring these animals back from extinction. And there's a guy, Stuart Brand, who's the co-founder of non-profit conservation group Revive and Restore. He says, de-extinction is coming gradually and certainly. It will eventually be seen as just another form of reintroduction, like bringing wolves back to Yellowstone Park and beavers back to Sweden and Scotland. I think that's really cool. I think it would be amazing if in my lifetime I could see an animal that had previously gone extinct.
Yeah, but, we're only talking in zoos within our lifetime of something like a mammoth or a moa because it would take so long to build a stable population size. And people are only interested in seeing big, charismatic things, aren't they?
I guess.
I think that is the problem, is that for us to get truly successful reintroductions, we'd have to choose something with a fast life history so that it could propagate through the environment and, do whatever its job is.
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that. The gestation period of a mammoth must be, over a year, I suspect, if it's anything like an elephant.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah, that would be crazy. And how long does a baby mammoth take to get to adulthood?
Oh, I'm saying at least 20 years.
Do you reckon?
Maybe less, maybe 14 or something. I think it takes an elephant.
But maybe not the moa, something like a moa or a thylacine. You know thylacines?
No, I don't know thylacine.
The Tasmanian tiger.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, that's still too big. So it's a marsupial, is it?
Yeah. Marsupials are good, though, aren't they? Can't they have 3 offspring on the go at once? Kangaroos and wallabies can.
Well, yeah, so can most mammals, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Elephants don't usually, but I don't know whether a marsupial tiger, something that big, would. But, they just have, jelly bean babies, don't they?
Yeah.
That crawl up into the pouch. So I don't think that even if they have 5 or 6 little jelly beans, I don't think all of those would be expected to survive until adulthood. I think they get one of those.
That's not what I'm talking about. So I think they only have one offspring at a time, but basically a wallaby can have a little jelly bean baby inside it. It can have another one that is living in the pouch and also another one, a not fully grown juvenile that it is looking after, just hopping around outside of the pouch. So it can have 3 offspring on the go, all at different stages.
But a wallaby's a lot smaller and takes a lot less to grow than... So imagine how much pouch time a wallaby has compared to something huge like a red kangaroo. It's much less. So you still extend the interbreeding interval, it's called.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that marsupials are potentially a good chance, apart from the fact that you just got to think about what made them go extinct in the past as well.
Yeah, well, hunting, basically.
Yeah, obviously. But also, like, out-competed.
I don't think that they were just out-competed. I think it was humans hunted them.
Yeah, but I'm saying, so even if you go for something with a fast life history and reconstruct, like, those baby horses or whatever, like, it's just going to get out-competed by a rat.
Yeah, there is that too. It's difficult,
So
isn't it?
I'm not sure how I think about it as a future for conservation, but do I think it's really cool? Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right, because I would say that the animals that have gone extinct now have gone extinct for a reason. And if we bring them back, that is clearly just the same way they're going to go, right? So I don't know. Even keystone species, if they've gone extinct, it's because their lifestyles are incompatible with the other animals that they're competing with, including humans, which I would say is probably most often the case. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it would be cool to have, I don't know, some sort of zoo park with lots of extinct animals.
It would be really cool. Well, it's Jurassic Park, isn't it?
It is Jurassic Park. It is Jurassic Park. And actually, it's crazy how close we are to that sort of thing. I mean, another thing as well, the, 2 other genomes that scientists are working on, apparently they're very nearly complete, is the Neanderthal genome and the Denisovans genome as well. So very closely related to humans. 2 more human species.
But we couldn't breed them.
No, there's all sorts of
reintroduce them. There'd be, too many issues.
Far too many issues. But I don't know. Interesting though, isn't it? God, if somebody, I know that there would be so many ethical issues with that. But if somebody said to me, there's a button and you can press it, and if you press that button, we're going to bring back a Neanderthal, I would hit that button.
You couldn't just bring back one Neanderthal on its own.
All right. A little tribe.
Well, I
of
know
Neanderthals.
that obviously to grow up as a baby and to grow up within human society.
it would be like probably culturally indistinct from
It would just be
humans.
like, when you meet people and they're a bit stupid.
No, they're not stupid.
Yeah, they are a bit more stupid than us. I'm going to say that they probably are.
I don't think they are.
Neanderthals, Homo stupidus.
I don't think Neanderthals are stupid. I think that is...
Yeah, but a lot of humans are stupid, Harvey.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think that...
I'm considering stupidness on my level. I'm not talking about they're like a savage animal if we brought them up in our society. I'm saying they're just like stupid humans.
I don't think they are like stupid humans. I think that is the misconception. I don't think that there's any evidence to suggest that if you brought a Neanderthal back, it would have like an average intelligence that was less than the average human intelligence. I think that they had just as much capacity to learn as we do. I don't think we outcompeted them through better intelligence. I don't think.
But they have smaller brains than us.
I don't know if they do have smaller brains. They've got bigger heads, haven't they?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I'm unconvinced that.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back, and then we could have competitions, couldn't we? Neanderthals versus humans.
That sounds dangerous. That sounds like how they died out in the first place.
Yeah, but I don't know. I do think it's fascinating. Like you say, I'm unconvinced that it would be a viable conservation method. Yeah. I don't know if I agree with this Stuart brand that it will eventually be seen as just another form of reintroduction.
No.
But I do think it is really cool, and I definitely want scientists to continue. I want to see an extinct animal become de-extinct.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it as a curiosity. Like, I know that some people would argue about the ethics of that, but I'd see one. Like, I think it's interesting. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, creating enough of them so that they could live in a little population in a zoo. Then, when they die, put them in a museum, like.
But of course, there is the question, how alike their extinct counterparts are they?
Oh, yeah. So I guess all the things about like about working in a zoo, or the like husbandry and enrichment and stuff. How could you guess what a species would want in a zoo?
Yeah, I think I don't think that would be too difficult, because I think you could just look at an emu for the moa. At least you could look at the emu, see what enrichment that needs, and then maybe you might have to adjust it for the moa slightly. But I don't think it would take very long to get enrichment.
Okay, then what about for a marsupial tiger?
I think even for a marsupial tiger, I think you would be able to look at similar animals, look at marsupial enrichment, look at carnivore enrichment, and I don't think it would take very long to get to to develop an enrichment program that kept that animal happy. I don't think. Maybe that is naive of me.
You know what? If I become a lecturer, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set that as an assignment.
Come up with an enrichment program for an extinct animal. That would be an awesome assignment, actually.
Yeah, like to coincide with the trip to the zoo, choose your own extinct animal and use information about what they've done for animals that are similar to it to design your own enclosure.
That's genius. I'd love that.
Thank you.
What extinct animal would you choose?
Maybe Megatherium, but...
Oh, that's a great shout.
Yeah.
For people who aren't familiar with Megatherium, that's the giant ground sloth.
When he says giant, he's not just saying big. He means like...
Who's he? The cat's mother?
You, sorry. When Harvey...
Who's he?
Yeah. The cat's Megatherium. The Megatherium's mother, sorry.
So Megatherium, the giant ground sloth, weighing up to 4 tons, measuring up to 20 feet in length from head to tail.
Of course, people would get marked down in their assignments if they didn't mention all the strengthening of materials, beams and things that is going to have to go into a normal sloth enclosure.
Oh, I don't know if that would be a really tough one to do, I think, the giant ground sloth. To come up with an enrichment program for that, because that's a huge animal. We've really drifted.
Yeah, we have. Sorry.
We've done some real genetic drifting, actually.
So I want to talk about turtles.
Oh, I love turtles.
So this is not the most recent paper, but one that I stumbled across this week. And it's about turtles and climate change.
Okay.
So obviously turtles have a temperature-dependent sex determination system.
Mm-hmm. So for people who aren't familiar, basically, when a turtle egg is incubated at a certain temperature or above a certain temperature, it will be either a boy or a girl. And similarly, I think in cooler climates, they're boys, and in warmer climates, they're girls. I think it might be that way around. It might be the other way.
I think it's that way. I think it's about either above or below a certain threshold, you turn into a female.
Ah, okay. So when it's a stable temperature, you'll be a male. But if it's above or below, you'll be a female.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not sure that's how it works in turtles, but that's how I've seen it work in other animals anyway.
Okay.
So obviously this throws up some problems in the face of climate change. Like, as the Earth is warming, that's going to affect how many of the hatchlings are female and how many are male, which obviously has big knock-on effects in terms of the population. Like, if there's loads of females and no males, you're going to have a problem. You're not going to be able to reproduce the next generation.
Yeah. And so if it is true that females are born above and below a certain threshold, then that's what we'll have, right? We'll have lots and lots of females and not enough males.
Yeah, exactly. So these researchers, obviously it's actually quite hard to track like where a sea turtle came from because they go into the sea, but obviously it's the temperature at the beach where they were not incubated, but like incubated in the sand that determines what sex they're going to be. But these scientists managed to devise a method so they could track the turtles back to which beach they came from. And in the southern beaches, so this was in Australia, so southern beaches are colder, further away from the equator, 65 to 69% were females. So that's like, a little bit moderate skew, but there's still going to be
that's a huge
substantial
skew, isn't it?
But yeah, okay, well, you wait.
As opposed to 50%, 65 to 70.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say that's really substantial.
Well, okay. In the northern beaches, 99.1% of juveniles were female.
That's crazy.
And 86.8% of adults.
I mean, I say that's crazy. I think it's difficult to draw a conclusion without knowing what the previous ratios were.
Well, I think, but you can see that based on what the northern beaches and the southern beaches are like. So obviously you've seen, the temperature difference between those, and then you can extrapolate what the temperature difference was in the past and say, like, obviously 50-50 ratio is where it probably evolved.
Is that true?
I don't know. Like, obviously there are some species where females vastly outnumber males, but
yeah, like elephant seals.
But I don't think it's 99.1%.
No, that is crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Good time to be a male turtle, though.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're going to get laid.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they get laid without sex. That's the point.
Wait, I knew you were going to do that. As soon as you said that, I was like, I'll let him do the egg laying joke.
That was just off the cuff as well. Like, that isn't something I've written down as a little joke. I just come up with this as I go along. So,
I know.
Here's my question.
Go on.
Here's my question to you. Did dinosaurs have temperature-regulated sex determination?
I wish I knew more about this topic. Because my answer is, I really don't know.
Okay, so, well, most reptiles do, but birds don't, obviously.
Most reptiles do?
Well, I don't know whether most is a fair statement, but a lot of reptiles do, like crocodiles do, turtle,
I've seen that. You see, now I used to keep reptiles and amphibians.
Yeah.
And I was aware that you could incubate turtle eggs and tortoise eggs at a certain temperature to ensure that you have boys, or, vice versa for girls. And I never heard of that in snakes or chameleons or maybe other lizards, I don't think.
Well, maybe it's not in squamates then.
But yeah, it might be though. Or maybe I just didn't hear about it.
An idea was that this is how it evolved in all amniotes.
Okay.
But then, so temperature dependent, it evolved like that in all amniotes, and then it's been lost and regained.
Right.
So I don't think anyone's for certain sure whether dinosaurs did have it or not. But I think it's an interesting concept that, like, this is what could have happened to the dinosaurs. Like, climate change could have happened so that there was a huge skew of females, not enough males, and suddenly they can't reproduce anymore.
We always talk about these sorts of things, and it's always a combination of factors. And when you take into consideration an extinction event that might have blocked out the sun and whatnot and rapidly changed the temperature for ectothermic animals or whatever, then I think, that in combination with the fact that there's this huge skew in the amount of females that were produced, like it could definitely be a contributing factor for sure.
But interesting.
Very interesting. Really crazy. Just another example of like an ecological knock-on effect of climate change that people don't have in the forefront of their mind.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you think about polar bears that are going extinct because they don't have anywhere to fish, but you don't think about a turtle on a beautiful tropical beach that's going to go extinct because there's too many females. Like, it just doesn't register as a consequence.
That's absolutely true. When most people picture climate change, they picture shrinking habitats in the Arctic.
Yeah.
But it really is, it's a global problem, a global issue. And even animals in the tropics are being heavily influenced by it.
I guess the thing is, if it gets warmer, you can always move up. But there's only so far you can move up.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially in like Australia, where if you go down much more, you're not going to find much.
Yeah. So I wonder, that's a really interesting point, because one way that animals could respond to this is to evolve to change the threshold.
Yeah. So that's what loads of people research in my lab.
Yeah.
It's like the range margins of butterflies.
Okay.
And so, like, measuring field data for butterflies to see how fast the northerly range is moving up, how fast the southerly range is moving up. And I can't remember the exact measurement, but it's something like 4 meters a year for some species of butterflies. They're moving northwards.
Okay. That's okay. That's not what I meant though. Like,
sorry.
One way for animals, for the turtles to evolve to adapt to this would be for the temperature range to change.
Okay, yes.
So that it stabilizes, to like more of a 50-50 split or whatever the optimal split is for sea turtles. But then, you're absolutely right. Another way for them to respond would be to move to a different beach where the temperature range matches up to the thresholds that they require.
I think that because of like the random nature of evolution, there would be a lag that is incompatible with climate change for them to do it like genetically. So for, you've got males that have hatched at this temperature, even though it's out of the threshold. So they're like the abnormal mutation that you want to fix within the population. But because they're going to be because the climate's moving so fast, the mutations that would allow us to keep up with it aren't occurring at a fast enough rate.
Essentially, even if a male was born in the optimal temperature range, by the time that male has grown up,
it's going
to
have
be able
already
to pass
shifted.
on those genes. Yeah, exactly. The temperature range has changed. Yeah, I see what you
mean.
Exactly. Oh, it's a difficult one, that.
Yeah, looks like the sea turtles are going to go.
Well, they've always struggled, haven't they, I think? Turtles. They've really struggled with the plastic that we put in the oceans as well, haven't they? I think, is it the leatherback turtles eat jellyfish, and plastic bags resemble jellyfish. So
yeah.
Did you know we get leatherback turtles in the North Sea?
I did not know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing, isn't it? I'd never picture turtles up this high.
Yeah, it's too cold.
Yeah. But no, leatherbacks, you do get them around there. I'd love to see one.
Well, you better hurry.
Doesn't matter though, because we'll just bring them back.